I had never ridden a 4x4. I thought I was gonna die every time I hit a pothole. That was a good time though. Hi y'all, SnarkyJay cosplay here. Well, it's officially that time of the year where we start saying goodbye to 2024 and hello to 2025. It's been kind of a big year for me, character development-wise, channel growth-wise. So much has happened, and a lot of it has actually been featured on this channel in the form of vlogs, in the form of reading mean comments videos. We have done a lot. We've been through a lot together, you and I. So I thought, what better way to start approaching the end of the year than to do a recap on this year in terms of content creation and my life in general. So we're gonna go through some of the highs and some of the lows of this year for me in videos and pictures, so let's go. I kicked off January of 2024 with a very new year, new me sort of ideal, which is kind of odd because I usually start the year with the new year, same asshole thing, but I did try. So I started the year by literally cutting all of my hair off, which was really interesting for the channel, surprisingly enough. And I also did something that I had been wanting to do for years. Unfortunately, I had braces growing up, which did not do wonders for my teeth. So I'm very open about it. I got my teeth whitened at the beginning of the year. And even though it actually hurt, which I didn't think it would, it was genuinely one of the best decisions I've ever made. At the very beginning of February, I went to Disney with my mom and we had a great time, except for the fact that I got food poisoning while I was there, and then right after that I ended up getting the flu. Unfortunately, MegaCon Orlando was the weekend right after that, so while I was there on my first day at MegaCon, I started feeling symptoms and I missed the rest of the convention, and that flu took a week to go away. It was miserable. I do, however, with MegaCon want to give a special shout out to my buddies over at CMI Toys. They were kind enough to host me even though I was unable to stay, but I'm so looking forward to working with them again. They are such great people. February of 2024 also brought me the rooster issue. It was mentioned only briefly in my Dune 2 video. However, I really did have a rooster that would scream outside my window between the hours of 4:30 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. every f***ing day. Hello. Hello? And nobody else would hear this motherfucker but me, so I spent like weeks unable to sleep. I don't know what happened to him, but by the end of February he went away. I don't know what happened, but I'm grateful. I also attended a pretty cool event in February. I got invited to the premiere screening of Ricky Stenicki, and John Cena was actually in attendance. It was a fun movie and I had a blast with my dad, so that was definitely a highlight. March, admittedly, I don't have much to say other than the fact that I celebrated my dog Georgie's 6th birthday and we got to give him a little birthday cupcake, and that was adorable and very happy for me. In April, there was a pretty big change in my life. So I kicked the month off with a premiere event for the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and while the movie was absolutely terrible, I did have a really good time putting together a sort of 1940s, 50s inspired look. That was a lot of fun, and that event actually ended with a tour of the bay in Miami, which was absolutely stunning. I'd never been on a boat at night before, so that was really nice. Later in the month, I did a charity event. For me, these charity events are kind of just soul-filling things that I have to do throughout the year. I have so much fun with them, and to me, it's really important to kind of give back to these kids who are often in so much need. And I always get to do them with my very good friend Batman Florida. I'm always so grateful to work with him. He's a wonderful person. And that big change in my life came at the very end of April. The neighborhood cat that I had been feeding brought home her 3 kittens, and she eventually abandoned 2 of them, and I adopted them, and that is Bruce and Ivy for you. May had more than a few movie events in store for me. I had the weird pleasure of being invited to attend an event that was essentially promoting Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, and the really great thing was that we went out to the middle of nowhere and we rode like 4x4s out in the middle of nowhere, and I've never ended up with so much dust all over my body, but it was cool because we got to put together Mad Max inspired looks, and I had never ridden a 4x4, but I'm kind of a gearhead and I like speed, so that was an absolute blast. Even if I thought I was gonna die every time I hit a pothole, That was a good time though. One of my highlights of the whole year also happened in May. The original The Crow, 1994, was released in theaters for its 30th anniversary, and I have spent like 14 years of my life being absolutely obsessed with and in love with this film, and I've never gotten to experience it on the big screen because it came out 6 years before I was even born. So getting to watch it in a theater setting was absolutely incredible, and I'll admit, it was so moving to see it to that scale that I actually cried a little bit, but it felt really nice to experience my favorite film of all time as it was intended to be experienced. There was another film event to promote The Watchers, and this one was another weird one. It was actually a dark meal tasting thing. So essentially they had a menu that they had come up with that we didn't know about, and we had to eat all these things blindfolded for the first bit of it, which is really weird when you're picking things up and putting them in your mouth and you don't know what they're supposed to be. Kind of anxiety inducing, but luckily everything was delicious. June was probably one of the better months of my entire life. At the beginning of June, I hit 100,000 subscribers on Instagram, which meant the world to me because I've been creating costumes and taking pictures and posting them on Instagram for 7 years. So it felt like finally I reached a number that looked impressive and there were really people following what I was doing. And then later on in the month, while I was on Open Bar with Critical Drinker, which I want to say a little bit more about that in just a moment, I managed to hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Oh wow, SnarkyJay, did you just hit 100K?
You have hit 100.
I haven't checked.
Have a check. Go ahead and check.
Check keeps congratulations. 100, so congratulations.
If we did that, I'm gonna just go scream off cam for a minute. Oh yeah, we did! Yay! All right.
Congratulations.
That's it. That's it for me. I'm not gonna be obnoxious about it. I'll be sitting in the moderating quietly.
now you can say like I'm kind of a big deal around here.
Yeah, right?
And we're now at just over 220. I am so incredibly grateful for the growth that this channel has had. I mean, when I started making videos, I didn't think I would have even 10,000 subscribers. To me, that seemed like otherworldly stuff that happened to other people, not me. So the fact that we reached that milestone here was absolutely amazing. And that's another experience that I'm really grateful for. This year, I actually got to collab more than a few times on Open Bar with the Critical Drinker, who's an absolutely awesome guy. I also got to collab with Star Wars Theory, who's an absolute sweetheart. He is so cool. And I've also had more than a few interactions with Tyrone Magnus, who's the absolute bomb. I am so grateful for these guys and how supportive they've been of my channel and how kind they've been in general. So I'm really grateful to have had those experiences this year because YouTube can feel very isolating, so it's nice when you kind of mingle with people that get you. At the end of June, I was also invited to a small town comic expo, which was a lot of fun because I got to debut my Batfleck outfit and it was just a pretty good time. July was another big month because it happens to be my birthday month. So at the beginning of the month, I ordered my silver play button for hitting 100,000 here on YouTube, and it has been back there ever since. I'm so happy to have it. It brings me joy just to walk in here and see it. I also was a cosplay guest at Florida SuperCon, and the highlight of that for me was getting to see Rob Wiedoff, who portrays John Marston in Red Dead Redemption. We've met before and he remembered me, so it was nice to see him again. And it was super nice to meet Roger Clark, who played Arthur Morgan in Red Dead 2. I literally named my dog Arthur after him, so it was just so nice to meet them. Then just a little bit after the middle of the month, it was my birthday, and that was a whole series of celebrations that I'm so grateful for. My mom actually put together an entire The Crow themed birthday for me, which was insane. I didn't even think they made birthday decorations like this, but apparently they do. On my actual birthday, all I wanted to do was go have lunch at the Rainforest Cafe, and that is exactly what I did because I'm a child and I like whimsy. And my mom's big birthday gift to me this year was a trip to a little safari adventure thing. They're essentially like a nonprofit organization, and she got me this tour where I got to see so many animals and I got to pet otters, and it was just such a good time. I'm a big animal lover. I never got over that, so that was probably one of the best things I've ever done. Later in the month, I had the tremendous honor of doing my first interview on this channel. I got to interview none other than Bridget Bass, who wrote the only real account of the entire production of the film The Crow. That was a really great interview. She was so kind and so welcoming, and I just feel really grateful to have done it, especially this year on the 30th anniversary of the film, and especially leading up to the remake. My dad and I kicked off August by going to Ripley's Believe It or Not, which I had not been to in over 15 years. And that was a time. Then later in the month, I was a cosplay guest and a judge at Tampa Bay Comic-Con, so I had a lot of fun being a judge for the cosplay contest. There's so much talent, but my highlight at Tampa Bay Comic-Con was actually meeting a few different people. I got to meet not only Vincent D'Onofrio, who yes is Kingpin, but I love him in Full Metal Jacket, but I also met and got to talk to Charlie Cox, who's an absolute prince. I love him as Matt Murdock in Daredevil, so I was so glad to meet him. And I also got a photo op with the fabulous Tom Welling, who I love in Smallville so much. He almost makes me want to be a Superman girl. At the end of August, for as terrible as the film actually was, I had a great time at a Beetlejuice event. I love putting together looks for these kinds of things, so that was a blast. September brought us another couple of movie events. I started off the year with an event for Killer's Game, and while that's not really my type of movie, the event was an absolute blast because we actually did it at an axe throwing place. Yeah, I'm not a good axe thrower, but I was okay with the ninja stars. That was fun. And the really cool thing about it was that they actually had custom axes for us to wood burn. So I was able to do a really cool one, and I had a lot of fun doing that, especially because my dad went with me. I had another convention in August. I was invited to be a guest at Ocala Comic Con, and I had a lot of fun with that because I got to meet several voice actors from the show X-Men '97. I debuted some really fun cosplays, and it was just an absolute blast. I loved the hotel that it was in, so that was probably one of my favorite conventions this year. I ended the month of September with an event for Joker Folie à Deux. This event was before the film came out, but it was a lot of fun because we did karaoke, and I usually hate singing in front of people, but I actually gathered the confidence and did karaoke in front of my friends. So that was a lot of fun, and it was probably my favorite movie promotion event all year. October was packed. I kicked it off with a hospital visit right at the beginning of the month. I do charity events and hospital visits, like I said. They bring me a lot of joy, and to me, it makes me feel good to be able to do something for other people, so that was a really great time. And then I had a little Halloween shindig for some of my friends, and that was a lot of fun because I love hosting people and decorating my place for parties. I got to bake for everybody, and it seemed like everybody had a good time. After that, following the Halloween spirit, I was invited to a charity event at an old folks home. They were essentially having their Halloween party, so my friend Batman Florida and we attended, and I just had so much fun. We danced with them, we took pictures, and everybody was so kind and so welcoming that the entire time I felt like I was among family, and it felt really nice to maybe put some smiles on faces while they were at this facility. And right before Halloween, to end the month, I went back to the Children's Hospital for their family fun night for Halloween, and we helped the kids paint pumpkins, and we took pictures, and all the kids got to take home costumes, so that was just really sweet and a lot of fun. Editing Jay here, dropping in to say that regular Jay is an absolute nitwit because somehow she forgot to mention NebraskaCon, which was actually in Council Bluffs, Iowa. I have had few convention experiences as pleasant because the organizers were so kind. Everybody in the Midwest is so sweet. And this was actually a really fun convention and kind of me getting out of my comfort zone here because I was so far from home. But it was such a great convention, so I couldn't let this video go without mentioning it. In November, things somehow slowed down and also started to speed back up. So my mom and I took a trip to Disney in November, and while I was there, I basically got approved to be McCree/Cassidy for Blizzard's staff holiday party. There's a vlog on that if you want to see it. So right when I got back from Disney World, I basically had to spend my entire 2 weeks building this thing so that I could have it ready to go for the trip. So it was kind of hectic, and I had to do that in the middle of celebrating Thanksgiving with my family. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the month of December. And honestly, I can't say there's a whole lot going on for me right now. I kicked off the month by going all the way to Buena Park, California for the Knott's event. It was Blizzard's staff holiday party. So it was basically a travel day, an afternoon at Knott's, an evening working and then flying back the next day. And that was super hectic, and I got back very sick and literally just got over bronchitis 2 days ago, so that was a lot. But once I was back from California and starting to recuperate, I put together my very first Christmas tree all on my own, as in I picked the decorations, I bought the tree, I did everything on it myself, and I was just so proud of the way that it looked, and I feel very festive about it still. And just a few days ago, I got to do something that I had been wanting to do for years. My abuela is a big fan of the theater and ballet and all that stuff, so I got to take her to a performance of the Nutcracker, and we had such a good time together. So to me, it was just nice to be able to take her to something like that. So the month of December for me is pretty much over. I'm just gonna be making videos and celebrating the holidays with my family, and that was 2024. But that just means that I get the ball rolling on 2025. Now, for the next year coming up, I have to say, I do have a goal to attend way more conventions. I would like to get out of Florida way more. I have several builds that I wanna do this year, cosplay-wise, and in terms of content, I wanna do more vlogs, but I also wanna do more of the video essay style. And I also really want to get back into doing reviews. I really haven't gotten to review as many films as I would like this year, so I want to get back into kind of diversifying the content and doing as much as I can to build the channel and interact with you guys over the year. But all in all, despite its ups and downs, 2024 has been a really great year, and I want to say that I am so grateful for everybody who's been with me this year or in the past. If you just joined in last week, I'm so grateful to have spent any part of the year talking to you guys or making videos for you guys or interacting in any aspect at all. It's been really great, and I'm so looking forward to doing more of it next year. And that's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram, and if you'd like to support me, this channel, and my content creation, do check out and consider subscribing to my Patreon for exclusive photo shoot sets and cosplay content. I'll add links to all of those in the description below. And let me know the highlight of your 2024 in the comments below.